My name is Ramiro. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Octeto. I was born in Mexico, but I've been living in the Bay Area for about 15 years now, I think. I live in Oakland right now, so yay, East Bay. And as Marie said, I leave cloud native development, dev experience, open source, emojis. I used to spend a lot of time building chat products before DevTools, so emojis, and good food. So if you want to connect after the talk, if you want to chat, that's my email, my Twitter, GitHub, and everything else. And that's a QR code for the slides if you want them later. Octeto is a platform that automates dev environments for humans and AI agents on Kubernetes. It's open source, it's free. We also have a paid product, so if you want to check it out, please do, and give me all the feedback you can. We're always looking for ways to improve this. But today, we're here, KCD, San Francisco Bay Area. I'm super excited. I've been part of this community for a very long time, but believe it or not, it's the first time I speak in an official, whatever that means, event in the Bay Area. So it's really, really cool. Last year, I got a chance to speak at the KCD in Guadalajara, where I'm from. So that was very exciting. But this is home for me, so it's even more exciting. And you know, Bay Area is a very long, big part of California. When people from abroad think of Bay Area, like, hey, I'm in San Jose, come see me. I'm like, that's almost 2 hours from where I live, so no, sorry. So just to kind of get things a bit going, I would love to know where you from. Are you first? Can we get a hand up if you are from the Bay Area, if you live here, or if you're coming from somewhere else? Nice, a good chunk of locals. How many are coming from the North Bay? Whatever your definition of North Bay might be. Nice. San Francisco? All right. The Peninsula? South Bay, which, you know, Peninsula and South Bay is always a complicated separation. And East Bay, who's coming from the East Bay? There you go, nice. Very cool, it's a good representation from all different parts of the Bay Area. I love that. But today, we're gonna talk about Mario. My entire life I've played video games. Video games is what got me into computers, what eventually got me into open source and Kubernetes. Waking up on Christmas and dashing down to the Christmas tree, racing my brother over to get our first Nintendo console, Mario 3, is one of the core memories of my life to this day. I've played them for a long time, and not that long ago, I was chatting with someone. I was visiting this good friend of mine in Atlanta, and he had just bought a legacy kind of vintage NES console. He was like, hey, do you want to try it out? And I was like, yes, but I don't know, will I remember how to play these games? I haven't played, you know, the OG Mario in a very long time. But then almost immediately, I kind of answered this myself, say, hey, of course, you've played this for a very long time. You know, muscle memory, all these games are the same. And I was chatting with my buddy about this. It kind of came to the conclusion of, hey, it's a platform game, platform engineering. Actually, there's a lot of things that are similar. So that's what I'm kind of here to share about and talk about how we can learn a lot from video games, from Mario and this long-running series, and apply this to platform engineering, which is what I love and do almost every day. So the first thing is helping our users to not fall into cliffs. If you play Mario or any other platform game, the #1 mission is jump and don't fall into holes, fire, or anything with spikes on. Platform engineering is about the same, right? We want to build platforms that make it easier for our users to hopefully not die, I don't know where you work, but at least to not have issues, no? When we're using Kubernetes, you can give everybody kubeconfig, kubectl, go do your own thing. Or you can build a nice abstraction where you are taking care of your users. So that to me is the foundational principle of platform engineering. Take care of your users, find ways for them to not have to fall into pits of death like here. Number 2, and this to me is one of the most important things I see with good platforms is progressive progress, I guess. Like, slow down the complexity. No? You want a platform that is easy to start, that abstracts as much as possible away, but that doesn't make everything impossible. No? And some people, like my friend Daniel from Syntasso, talks about off-roading. Spotify talks about golden paths, or breaking the glass, whatever metaphor better suits you, but the idea is the same. Is you want to start easy, you want to start simple, like in video games. Level 1 tends to be easy, boring. You might have an inbuilt training into how to use the different power-ups, but as the game progresses, you get access to more powerful things. When you're building platforms, think about it the same way. You want it to be more powerful for your power users, but not complex for those new users or those users who are just trying to get one thing undone. So think about this very well. Like, you don't want to, your experts, they want to be served. You want to expose, for example, all of Kubernetes in your platform if needed, but not for everybody and not on day one. Number 3, and this goes to what I was kind of the corny story I was telling you before, but the use of repeatable patterns is very important. Platform games are all built on pretty much the same principle. A principle that has pretty much remained true and popular for the last 30, 40 years at this point. I don't know if you saw, but Silksong came up the other day and broke the PlayStation Store, a bunch of other things, and they're all the same. You jump, you dash, you don't die. This is a screenshot of the Super Mario Bros. Manual, the first one, 1984, I think. And you can see that they have these principles, right? You have a control pad, A button, B button, one accelerates, one for fireballs, and the other one for jumping and swimming. If you fast forward to this game, Super Mario Bros. On the Wii, 25 years later or so, you still have a dash pad, A, B, you jump, you dash, you throw fireballs. There's way more things, of course, but there is this repetitive patterns that you can see from one game to the next. And this is very important because this is how you reduce cognitive load. This is how you make it easier for your users. In platform building, there's always a temptation to rebuild everything from zero, to create a new abstraction that aces everything. No? If you remember, there was some time we were like, hey, we don't want to talk about compute or network or memory. No, we're going to create some new unit of work that no one knows what it means. It can work, yes, but it tends to be harder. So as you build your platforms, do keep in mind and remember that building blocks, creating a narrative that is repeatable, that I can take from one version of your platform to the next, is very important, because every time your users have to start from zero, well, that's a chance for them to start with zero with something else. If they cannot bring their skills, if they can't bring their whatever they learned before previous experiences, they're going to have a much harder time. And platform engineering is all about not having a hard time. It's all about making the toil go away so you can focus on the things that make a bigger difference. Number 4, I think I lost count, but number 4 is when you're building platforms, think of always having a big boss. You always have an enemy. There's this phrase in the Star Wars world that always talks about you always need to have an antagonist. You're always fighting something. And I think that, put it in a positive way, is something very important to think about when you're building a platform. This can be complexity. This can be, hey, my enemy is, I don't know, that it takes 25 steps to deploy to production, that it takes 25 things before I can see my code on an environment and give me feedback. Pick something, be very vocal about it, and make sure that you have a very clear definition of what it means to beat the big boss. Because especially on large organizations, platforms are not just a technical problem, they're also a social problem and a budget problem. You need money to build a platform. You need to convince people to get headcount to build this platform. You need to convince your users to use the platform, because they might just be, hey, I know how to do my job, go away. So it's very important to have this very clear figure so that people who believe in the same antagonist that you get a chance to align and go after that. And it can be a big boss, negative, you're beating the boss, or it can be a definition of win and celebrate things together. Video games, Mario has both, right? You have big boss, Bowser, you jump, you eventually manage to kill it after 8 times, 9 levels, you get to the final one. But even before that, at every level, you have this flag. And you run, you jump, you touch the flag, and there's a high score and coins and explosions and different music, and Mario might make a little dance. There might be a weird mushroom that comes up and says something, whatever it might be, right? Here's the moment of, hey, celebrate those small wins. Whether it is deploying something successfully, getting my code to production, being able to ship a small feature within this big platform. Remember that having a clear goal, what are you trying to solve? Who are you trying to solve it for? What is the meaning of success? It's going to help you at all these levels, right? It's going to help you to get users, to get budget, to convince your boss, to align stakeholders, and at the end of the day, to help your business, your open source project, your community, whatever it might be, defeat this big boss, and continue to move forward. When building software and platforms and anything else, it's very important to continue to iterate. I've spent the last 15 years of my life working in startups, so the idea of MVPs and constant iteration is kind of natural in that world, but it might not be obvious in other parts of the world. But if you see this is a picture I found online of the evolution of Mario from 81, the first, before it was called Mario, I forgot what it's called, but that's the game with when Donkey Kong first came up, all the way to something new. You can see like the different iterations, and that is very important when we're building platforms. You're never going to get a platform right the first time. We might come with good intentions, we might come with years of experience, but you're never going to get it right. The platform that we built at Octeto is probably the 5th time in my career that I'm trying to build the same thing. An abstraction for compute and memory and all these things that allows developers to write code and get feedback faster. I wrote something like this at Microsoft, I wrote something like this for a startup, I did it in Atlassian, and now I'm doing it on a startup. But in every iteration, I've learned something that works, something that doesn't work, and hopefully I'm making it better. And that is very important, right? When you're working on a platform, when you're thinking of, okay, I want to get into this world of building platforms, account for the fact that you're going to have to iterate. If you're building a platform, and this goes especially for those of you building internal platforms, platforms are products. They're never really done. You can't just build a platform and walk away. You have to continue to iterate. You have to listen to your users. You have to understand what works, what doesn't. Keep these building blocks, keep these repeatable patterns, but keep iterating. And here's a great example. This is probably the most famous platform there is on the world, GitHub. This is what GitHub looked like probably 15 years ago. You can see some of the building blocks, right? There is a commit. There was no pull requests back then. There was forks. It was more social. There were issues. But if you look at this, you kind of get a sense, yeah, this is still GitHub, right? And this is what GitHub looks like for most of us today. You now have pull requests, you have projects, you have wiki, but you still have issues, there's code. You can see how like the core is still there, but the GitHub team learned as coding evolved, they learned to evolve their platform with it. It took many years, and to be fair, for a while it was kind of stuck, but they keep iterating, they keep improving. And this is key with platforms, right? You want it to get better, you want to adapt to your mistakes, to things that you're discovering through usage, to things that your developers are going to be discovering through their own evolution. And as new technologies come in, whether it's GitOps, DevOps, containers, Kubernetes, now that we're in the age of platform engineering and AI, it is very important to continue to evolve your platform as you go. Another very important thing, and this one is one of the less obvious sometimes, is even though most Mario games are about Mario rescuing the princess, it is very important to also let the princess rescue you every now and then. And what I mean by this, listen to your users. Make them part of the process. Not every idea needs to come from the platform team. Not every direction needs to come from the platform team. Just like with products, with platforms, you need to listen to your users. Take them into consideration. Go sit next to them and see how they're using your platform. Ask them, what do you love about my platform? What do you hate about it? What do you think it should do? What other things are annoying in your life? What else do you think we should solve for you? That's very important. It's something that it doesn't come natural to a lot of us. To me, when I started working in startups, it was very hard. I came from big tech before that, where there's a, believe it or not, this back when we were building Windows, there was a 5-year roadmap that was untouched. It was decided in 2008 and then shipped in 2012. And that was it. There was a blessed roadmap and you just shipped it. We don't live in that time anymore. Software is easier to ship. We don't have to actually ship it in boats like back then. So it's very important to iterate constantly, to evolve your platform, but to include the voice of the user. Talk to them. Try to, even if you are the user itself, remember that biases are real. And when we build software, we kind of start to not see its faults. We start to learn how to do a certain way. So don't do that. Use it, of course, improve it, but consider your users. Do not listen to everything they have to say. Filter it with your product view, of course, but do let them rescue you from time to time. Give your players, or your users, I guess, shortcuts. When I was growing up, I'm old enough that I remember the days before video games have batteries and memory packs or the internet. So back then, my mom only let me and my brother play for 30 minutes. That was it, 30 minutes a day, and then you had to shut it off and go do something else, play outside or do our homework. At some point playing Mario, we discovered these warp zones. And if you haven't played these games, there's special places in the levels where you can jump, access this kind of like secret area, where you go from, in this case, level 4 to 6, 7, and 8. This was built in place because, level 1, 2, and 3 are very boring. They're basic. You want to always go to the last levels, to the challenging parts of the game, the fun part of the game. So the designers gave us these shortcuts to get there faster. You need to do the same thing with your platform. Platforms are about removing the toil, removing the boring things out of the job so your users can do the fun, exciting things. AI is one of the biggest shortcuts I've seen in my career. I know there's a lot of hype about this, and we live in San Francisco, we know we're the epicenter of the hype, but a lot of this is real. There's a lot of tools out there that are really improving the quality of life of developers. So when you think about how can I help my developers, don't overlook our ability as platform engineers to create these abstractions, make these kind of broad choices for users, and give them shortcuts. AI, templates, build packs, best practices, frameworks. There's many examples of this, but I think that right now, AI is one of the most important and useful tools that we can do if we leverage them correctly. And that's where, again, not every tool works for everybody. We have to be very careful, user judgment, user experience, but definitely think about how platforms can help make everything faster for users, and do not overlook the power of AI. This is one that, another one that as I spend more time talking to successful platform engineers, I see this pattern over and over again, which is the power of support. Back in the day, you could buy magazines in the supermarket with, it would show you how to beat a game. Back then, back in my day, games were hard. And there's some games that I can swear have no ending because they're so hard that nobody ever finished them. But you could buy these books. You could even call a phone number, the Nintendo Power Line, and someone, who probably looks like that, I don't know, would answer on the other side and give you a tip. How do I pass this level? Where do I have to jump? What is this combination to defeat this boss? Platforms need the same. When you roll out a platform, for me, the #1 factor that makes your platform succeed or fail is documentation. Are you spending time explaining how to use your platform? Even if it's super usable, samples, videos, looms, training sessions, ambassador programs, office hours. We talk through our business, we talk to a lot of platform engineering teams, it's amazing, and once again, every successful rollout has one of these things because you want to involve your users. You want to help them get started. They're busy, they don't care. They want to do their job, get promoted, go home, spend time with their family or their hobbies or whatever they're doing. So they don't have time to learn all these things. And you might have created the best platform ever, but that still requires evangelism. That still requires training. So don't underestimate the power of having your own power line, right? A Slack channel when people can drop and ask questions. A series of looms on how to do the top 5 tasks that your platforms enable. A listening tour where you go with every team in your organization and show them how to do the things that they complain about. That is very powerful. Just like any other product, just like any other open source project, that's how you build your followers, your ambassadors, your champions, and hopefully a successful platform. And platforms are measured by how many people use them and how much time they save. At least that's how I like to measure them. Point number 9, make sure it's fun, right? Make sure that people enjoy using your platform. Make sure that it reflects the culture of your organization, your own point of view. A lot of platforms tend to be kind of very stuffy and enterprisey. Don't be shy about, picking a logo, a mascot, some cool colors, the language you use. Platforms are used by humans. And if your platform is successful, this is going to be the first thing a lot of developers use when they begin their day. You want them to begin their day with a smile, with something fun, to make sure they love using your platform. Make sure that the interfaces are delightful, make sure that it's fast, make sure that the errors are easy to use. Friction, boredom, blockers are the one of the main enemies of successful platforms. So keep this in mind. Delightful software. The software is going to continue to be used. GitHub is fun to use. Heroku is great to use. Docker is easy to use. And these things keep being effective year after year because of this, and many other reasons, but that is to me a very important factor of this. And finally, number 10, if you die, if your platform fails, don't worry, you can restart. You have unlimited lives. With Mario, you die, you go to the beginning of the level, there's no penalty. You just have to run and jump and avoid the spikes again. If you die, you do it again and again and again. Eventually, you either learn or you have to, go play a different day. But the same thing happens with platforms. Not every platform works. Not everything works the same the first day. So remember to keep iterating, have a good opinion, talk to your users, but don't get frustrated. No, our mission as platform engineers is in my opinion, a very noble mission of enabling others, of helping others. I was lucky enough to be at Atlassian early on, and when they IPO, they picked team as the stock symbol, and one of the reasons for this was because Atlassian was the company that empowered teams to achieve their mission. I always like that. It's something I remember a lot because I've always been building developer tools. And make sure it's fun, and make sure that you don't worry too much about it, don't take it too seriously, but ensure that that it's good for everybody, and that if there's risk, you take it, and if you fail, you start over again. Software is cheap. It's cheap to reproduce. You can build and redeploy, typically as much as you can. So these are the 10 things that I learned playing Mario that make me a better platform engineer. I hope you're getting something out of it. But when you go home, after here, please enjoy the museum. It's actually amazing. Check it out. Say hi to everybody, and we can chat at the cocktail hour. But as you get home tomorrow, I would like you to kind of think about this and how this can help your platform efforts. As our colleagues from the last talk said, as Ronald and Madhuri said, platform engineering is more and more important. This is the year of platform engineering. I've been in this space for a very long time, and I've never seen as many companies have dedicated teams as this year. Platform engineering is business critical. Faster feedback loops make or break companies. Better CI, better paths to production are very important. So as you go through these points, pick one or two that really resonated with you, and think about how you can apply this. How can you make your own platform engineering efforts better? Don't try to boil the ocean. Pick one or two. Pick something you can improve this quarter, and then when you go back to your team, discuss it and start working. Because as I said, continuous effort, one day at a time, and you will build something substantially better, quarter by quarter. And for a lot of you, it's the case for me and our customers, AI is the new big boss. We have Micah Bowser there. A lot of companies are in this moment where they're trying to figure out their AI strategy. There's a lot of tools. There's a lot of approaches. And one of the areas that I've seen coming a lot is developers talking about, hey, I picked an AI tool and I'm not getting code that works. I get code that looks good, but the moment I put it in production, everything breaks and I get prompt in the middle of the night. If you've been in San Francisco, there's billboards that talk about this problem. We kind of start to call this the AI trust problem, right? So as we start getting into this and talk to customers, we put together this guide. It's free if you want to check it out, with some guides and a framework of how to define prompts and how to build them so that you get better, stronger, production-ready code. It's 5 things. I want to forget them. So the first one is context, is improving the context. So check it out. QR code is there, completely free. It's something that we put together that I think would be very helpful. Because yes, AI is here. As I said earlier, for me, is one of the most impressive shortcuts we can give developers is AI that works. It's AI that actually produces production-ready code. And I think platform teams are very well positioned to be the team that drives these efforts across organizations of any size, whether it's open source, small businesses, startups, all the way to large public companies. So that's it for today. Thank you for your time. I hope you had a good time. I hope you get something out of this. And if anyone wants to chat about dev experience, platform, or video games, I'm going to be around. Thank you very much.